Speaking of drinking, hello and welcome to Pit Against the Live Flushable College Show. I'm William Table and Legs, and I'm joined by my constant co-host, Kevin Smurph Murphy. Kevin, what's up?
What's up? I have a flight that I have to leave for in, 8 hours? Yeah. All right.
Sick.
Cool.
Sick. So we have 8 hours to wrap this up. Pit Against is a live call-in show. If you'd like to be live on air talking to us about your hot take, join the Pit Against Discord by clicking on the link that's in the description. Then join the waiting room channel. Put your hot takes in the topics text channel. If you like your take, we'll put you on for a mic check and then put you on air. You can also put your take in the topics text channel in the comments below. Don't make that face. Or a Bluesky or somewhere freaking else. And then if you can't make it on, I'll bring it up, which is what we're doing today. Mostly bringing up things for people who could have come on because I made a post. People read the post. They replied to the post.
Oh, yeah. I should probably go look at that.
Not a ton of comments, but enough. I did have a few things I was going to bring up real quickly at the beginning. Band talk is probably next week, right? Because bands are next week.
Yeah.
We're not huge on speculating. You know what? Just we'll be kind. Try to do the right thing in everybody's eyes. Band remembrance. Yeah, we're on that side. Sure, whatever. The next thing was someone said, where was it? Last week. Nathan, Bold Brew Games. I'm going to summon my inner Table and Legs for a hot take. Kiss of Death should be downgraded in Sage. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But I'm also biased, so I'd love to hear your opinion.
So it would probably be fine. You don't have Mask of Deceit to guarantee like a Black Widow flip into it or into that like lineup. You have danger digits, so you could only flick it once, and then you can't flick your other daggers. I don't totally hate it. There's also no T-Toxin. It's probably, I mean, it would obviously be very good. It would straight up be very good. I don't know that it's like the worst rarity change I've heard.
Yeah.
I'm a little hesitant because I would want to be careful about some of the like variants you introduce because some of those roles on Web of Deceit's ability get even higher variants as a result.
Very nasty. It synergizes
rolling
with
Tarantula.
Yeah.
In a
20 health format.
Yeah.
It
when
also,
you're also able to flick Kiss of Death is a lot of damage.
It's more of like a synergistic glue piece than most cards in most decks because it works with all the dagger stuff. It works with all the stealth stuff, which means it's way more versatile.
Yeah, instead of having to pitch a red to your Calicera or having to get a Calicera super early, because you don't have Mask of Deceit as well to auto flip into Orb Weaver to get your Calicera super early.
Yes.
It's a way you can efficiently play all your dagger pumps. You don't have T-Toxin for like the maximum punish. People don't feel super bad about blocking it, but they also don't have D-Reacts the same way they do before.
Right, yes.
I think I would be surprised if they hadn't tried it a little bit. I also wouldn't be surprised if they decided there's too much variance in bringing that card back. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the call from them, because that seems to be something they're trying to minimize in Sage a little bit, and they're trying to have a 20 health format that is naturally lower variance. But
is there immediately any other cards you're like that would be better as a rare? I mean, there's a lot of Majestics that are not awesome and super.
I think Raiden was an excellent one.
That's a great one. That was a good choice.
Raiden was a great choice, I think. Ban toxicity with it? Yes. That would be one of those would need to not be legal. Like, that is because you just go Kiss of Death, you go toxicity Kiss of Death, snaps it, bite.
Or you're Slippy.
It has go again. I mean, or your Marionette or Web of Deceit.
And you have the
Prey Stalkers or whatever.
Yeah. You could pump it to like 9. Easy.
You can double toxicity it.
You could.
And then flick it for 11 damage on hit.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll kill people.
That kills people. That
sure does
checkmate.
Kill people. Yeah.
So that
people have to run Quell against you just for that.
Yeah. That's meta warping in a way. Granted, you
All right, Clark,
draw 'em up.
you convinced me. That's a bad call.
So I think it is interesting, and there are probably other Majestics that are gatekeeping archetypes from coming into Sage. But I think the reason you can't do something like that is probably more logistics, right?
Yeah.
How do you get...
then people have to keep track of what cards are...
Yes.
It's a little bit easier to do with a weapon, interestingly.
Yes. It's also like...
That makes more sense.
How do you get... Let's say they found like 7 to 10 Majestics that they wanted to make... Ow! What are you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
They wanted to make rare. The question is like... I'm putting on my cat protective suit. The question is, how do you get those rares into people's hands? What if they're all across different classes? Like, there's like an illusionist one and an assassin one. It's like, do you come up with a booster
you start
pack
having
that
to
has like one of each of them? Like, what do you...
you start having to downshift ones for each class and each hero, and
I think it's not tenable. You just probably print what the rare equivalent of Kiss of Death would be, whatever that is.
Yes, which is probably like something that says if you would buff a dagger, buff this instead, where you can use the dagger pumps on it, but you can't flick it.
What if it was just Kiss of Death, it doesn't have the on hit, and it says, this can't gain go again?
That also solves some of the problems.
Maybe
in a way.
Something like that.
Something along those lines could work.
Something like that could work, and I think it could be interesting. But I think the idea is like you find the product where you can put one of these cards in, and you just make a rare version of it. And I think we'll get to that over time. Sage is really new. This cat is scaring me. Anyways.
Yeah.
So I think the concept is cool. I think maybe not downshift Kiss of Death. Because we've already found some gross things after a few minutes. You want to bring in our first caller?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Remember, Pit Against is a live call-in show. You can be on here talking to us about your either great or terrible takes. I promise we'll be nice. We'll be cordial, at least. What's the term? We'll be... I'm not mean... I'm not kind. I'm polite. Which it might be the other way around, where I'll try to be kind, and I might not be polite. I don't know. Anyways, jeez. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up? I'm Poopy. I'm from the butt, and I'm oh, I got you with that.
He's Fang.
I was calling to talk about this sort of approach to the ban list, where LSS likes to say, they want to give us a puzzle to solve. And right now, I think it's relevant because we're talking about going into a ban list this week after a very significant meta change, where we're seeing decks like Victor, rise up, and things are moving sort of around new heroes or heroes they haven't moved around in a while. And so we might get, some bans, but I don't necessarily think we need to. While on the other hand, it's clear to just about everyone with eyes that KO is the best deck in Sage.
Yes.
And there's KO, and then there's the decks that have a chance into KO. But, I mean, he's got to be, at least above 20% of the meta share at every event.
At least.
I would say more, but I don't know what the numbers were last couple weekends.
To say at least at 20% is fine.
He was 29% in Toulouse, and he was 31% in Brisbane.
So I was thinking he was probably 30. And it feels kind of like they think we're stupid, It's kind of one of those feelings where it's like, oh, solve the puzzle, and it's like, the puzzle is that there's a precon, right? That's got to be what the puzzle is. And I just feel that, like, when we have a ban list in CC And if LSS's approach is to continue to give us puzzles to solve, it feels a bit artificial to do that when the meta has just changed. Whereas with the ban list they did in Sage, they solidified a meta. Like they hard solidified it, and there was like a day or two where people were like, maybe Florian can do something, and maybe he hasn't.
No, I I hope they take this opportunity to do something in Sage. And I think my bigger issue, and I posted this after yours, was one paragraph out of their Sage BNR that said on the how they want to use the ban list for Sage is therefore the intent of our ban list management in Silver Age is not to fine tune win rates via the smallest amount of tinkering possible, but rather to reset the puzzle with impactful changes that may include both bans and unbans. There is nothing inherently wrong with kind of resetting the meta and giving us a new puzzle. The
Sure.
problem is they're also seemingly saying they're not going to fix the puzzle if it's shit.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting take right now because I don't want to be the person who on the CC end goes everything's shit because Huntsman's playable, so ban all these cards.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really easy to kind of be or subjective and go, well, this meta shit or that. But like when you look at something like just meta representation, you can see something a little bit more clear than this is good or this is bad, which is this is overrepresented. And
Yeah.
that's when I think that this answer of or this thing about we are trying to make impactful changes so that there's a new puzzle is like, well, you failed. You made impactful changes and you made a puzzle for 3-year-olds. And there's nothing like that feels
Yeah.
worse to me, and I'm not going to the Pro Tour, but to know that like the Pro Tour is going to have Sage in it when it feels like all the hype around this format has completely died. At least
Yes.
in my sphere.
Yes. I I I agree that I think CC is not in need of a huge sweeping change right now. We're entering a relatively defensive meta looking at the top decks, or kind of slower meta looking at the top decks where your long-term game plans are super relevant, and that's totally fine. As long as the games are interactive and healthy, that's good. And then we're going to get another reset when we get 3 Lightning Heroes, most likely. One being just like a very solid baseline aggro deck that already kind of works with the card pool that she has in Aurora. Like, I don't think the CC meta is bad.
If she gets more interesting with her cards, she has to get better, right? Because she can't.
Yeah.
If she has
Really?
these funny plays, and they're not better than going 0 for 4, 0 for 3, 0 for 3, then you're not going to play it. So she has to only get a little better.
Yeah. But like that's gonna feed the meta a bit. I think the CC meta for Yokohama is fine, but like the way they're managing Silver Age does not line up with a competitive format, I think is the broad statement. And I think a lot of the competitive players are kind of dissatisfied with it, which is fine. It doesn't have to be a competitive format. Still a great new player intro format. And I think you took away a lot of the feels bad moments by getting rid of Burn Up Shock and Lightning Press. And also, you tone down Kano a little bit, and you tone down Shunt to make DGA a little bit less oppressive for new players. Like, I think overall, this was probably a net benefit for entry level events, for armory level events, where people aren't super optimizing everything. But like, you've made Sage so linear, it's not hard to solve the puzzle. Like that's
I think about the way that they banned Chain preemptively because they were like, this is going to be the only deck in the format. And it feels like the tools exist to be like, hey, we know that we want this to be the best competitive format possible. So we could do something like we have if you have two heroes benched for the first pro tour where this is a format to maintain like more integrity among like people being able to bring different decks, I think that's a good thing. I think that they're afraid of that for some reason, and maybe it's because it's a pre-con and they want to they really love this $20 ticket to the $2 million world tour tagline. But it's feels like it's one of those feelings where it's like, who is happy about the state of this besides people who like KO mirrors? You know, maybe they're out there,
So,
but it's something that like everyone who engages with this game that I know has the same criticism of, which is just like, oh, they took out Briar and left KO completely alone.
okay.
So
Here's where I'll step in and play a little bit of counterpoint. Most Flesh and Blood players that I know, it's their only hobby. So that's a bad metric of the population. And where I'm going with this is I feel like based on all these things, we're already talking about it. Silver Age is not fine-tuned for win rates via the smallest margins, rather it's to reset the puzzle. That sounds very consistent with this is a casual format. If you do not care about win rates, that's because people are going to play what they want to play, not because of winning. They're going to play what they want to play because it's fun, and that's casual mindset. And so my first question is going to be, what is a consistent Silver Age event that they have outside of armories? Like, where do you go for Sage events?
well, that would be the battlegrounds that are starting
So
next weekend.
are battlegrounds entry level events?
They're I think just above
They're-
what like a skirmish level would be because
They're like tier
essentially
1.5.
Tier 1
Yeah,
and a
they're
half?
replacing battle hardens, kind of.
Sure. Is it fine having a casual event at that tier?
Yes. So like, I mean, they ran Blitz for skirmishes like forever, and there was like reasonable pricing for those events and all that stuff.
Old
that was
UPF
fine.
events.
Yeah, skirmishes were never like the highest level of competitive event, and I don't think battlegrounds are going to be that highly competitive either. Like, you're not winning. There are PTIs that there's like one PTI for first is the pricing.
Is there a PTI for first?
I think there is.
God dang.
That's fine. I don't care.
I guess.
There's not going to be that many of them. If people want to go do that, that's fine. I don't know many people that are going to be traveling for these events.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, it's going to be
fine.
mostly local, or the people who showed up to the event attached to it. But I think what this leads to
there's not going to be an event attached to it.
Oh yeah, yes,
not a showdown.
Yes, never mind. Yes, I got lost in the convo. So I think what it leads to is there's like and we've been talking about it, and it's just a duality to Sage where it needs to be competitive enough for certain events, but casual enough for entry level players. I argue, and I think this is what everyone else is kind of arguing, is like Flesh and Blood's pretty good, like as a game, like the system. Get somebody to play it a few times, and they get it. And so, like, I think you could just make it a competitive format fully. But it's cheap, and it's like all you have to do is make it cheap and, lower to the ground. Like shorter time games. And that's all you needed to do to make it a good entry level format. Like, you don't need. I'm moving back to the side of where y'all are at, which is like, just make this a competitive format. Give it a competitive meta.
So I'll tell you, there was a misconception at our local armory about whether or not Chain was legal at the armory level. He's not, but we all kind of misunderstood what they had said, which is basically like at official, events, they are not legal. We took that to mean at like tier 1 or higher,
Showdowns.
or showdowns and higher. Um, I don't think I knew many people who had an actual problem with that. I don't think anyone in our local scene was like, no, they can't let Shane show up at my armory and take away my pack per win, which we don't do anyway, but it's like if that's really your thing, if you love this game and you want to play it at the armory, that's fine. And we know that these heroes will rotate back into the competitive scene.
Yeah.
So it feels strange to me to allow this deck to be as good as it is. Say, hey, we're not going to do any additional bans before the Pro Tour, when I think that the population was largely kind of cool with this idea of like, oh yeah, if we're allowed to like, do what we want at the armory, then yeah, go ahead and curate the best pro level metagame you can, because I still get to play my silly little pet deck at the armory. No one took Benji away from me at the armory because he's too good for Pro Tour. I still get to play him, and I feel like it's just, I don't know.
I see
guys.
what you're saying. I haven't heard that before.
So it's funny. Most people that I talked to who had Sage armories just had like a local agreement to just not play Chain, even when Chain was legal.
We had an agreement at our armory. The week when we knew he was going to get banned, but he was technically still playable, where it was like, you are technically allowed to play Chain, and you're the biggest loser, and everyone's going to concede to you. Like, we're going to concede to you, and then just hang out with everybody else. And so nobody played Chain.
I said it was fine if you bring it to armory. That's not entirely true. I would roast the hell out of you.
You're allowed to.
You're allowed to, and I'm allowed.
There are consequences to your actions, though.
Yeah, it's not because I'm not going 3-0 that night. It's just I'm gonna. You
can play
roast you for bringing it.
your Chain mirror matches before the armory and after the armory.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah,
or in between rounds, somebody decided to bring Huntsman to Sage for some reason. Yeah, you can, after you finish your fight game, you can do Chain mirrors, but like, yeah, I don't know. I'm okay with them considering armories, having these restrictions in for armories. I think it just keeps everyone on the same field. Imagine you're also like, this is something that LSS has to think about from time to time, whether people like it or not, is more professional or higher tier level players would rather probably be testing with other higher tier players for big events, and so a small amount of inconvenience at the armory could push them away from it. And when I say that, I mean to say they're planning to play a Sage event, their local armory is playing Sage, 3 people are bringing Chain because they thought it would be funny, and it's allowed at the local level but not everywhere else. I think that would be another reason maybe not to do it, is the inconsistency between the local level and the competitive level. Almost like, oh my gosh, I'm really doing it, aren't I? Almost like how they don't want separate stat changes and bans and stuff like that on pubs in League of Legends as they do in competitive League of Legends, because the idea is you're supposed to be able to work your way up. And so even in casual games, they have all the same stuff. God dang. I need to find more. I need to touch grass and find more references in my life. So I think it's fine in armories to maintain the bans. That's where Kitchen Table comes in. Kitchen Table is the real tier 0.
Yeah.
I think that's... Is there anything else you want to talk about on this subject?
No, I appreciate coming on and talking to you guys about it. Thanks for hearing my plight.
No, I think it's something we're all kind of feeling. You know, not just the people playing in the big events, but I'm going to spend my weekend watching the big events, right? And so, like, if the casters are bored, you can tell. If the players are bored, you can also tell. And that'll lead to a lower quality event, especially if, like, they're, like, having to scrape to the 2-3 bracket to find somebody not playing KO or something. Like, that's going to be also kind of awkward on stream. Yeah. I don't think that's the case. There's going to be somebody who's, like, plays Dash to, like, and gets a couple of good wins, or Oldham or something. Like, I think there's a few heroes you could play, but, if it gets too repetitive, it gets too repetitive. But thank you so much for the call. Anything you want to shout out?
Shout out to, my mom and dad.
Oh, we love it. We love it.
They did
That's
it.
so good. Yeah. Thank you so much
guys.
for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, take care.
Oh, catch you next time. I'm not even reading my script. Oh, no. I'm washed. All right. What do you want to do next? We got some Bluesky takes. We got another take in the Discord.
We got another. Yeah, we got another one in the Discord.
Let's get another one in the Discord.
All right, I'll go grab them.
And while you're grabbing them, I get to tell our he left. He already knew. I get to tell our viewers about the best way to support us, which is coming on the show, and the second best way to support us, buying a shirt. I make shirts. We got merch. This one says,
hello.
Tunic. Hello. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Ashlyn. I'm calling from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Ooh.
Have a good time over here.
Yeah. What would you like to talk about on the show?
Before I talk about my thing, I would like to say your shirt is amazing.
Thank you.
I really
oh my gosh, I think so too. I love it.
You got to shill when you make cool shit. You always have to shill it. Like, that's the
Yes.
point. Like,
Yes.
that's the whole point, is that you got to display and advertise
Yes.
it. I get it.
Oh, he does.
That is why content creation is the modern pastime of millennials.
Yeah, that tracks. I'm not a millennial, but I think it tracks for Gen Z somewhat.
Sure.
Like, I don't know if you've seen the statistics for kids. Their number one job is to be a YouTuber now. It's it's so cooked. Okay, but I'll keep on the subject matter. But yeah, no, I just generally have been taking note of what's been going on with METAFY lately, and that there's just been a huge influx of people making paid written guides. I think it used to be that someone would do well at an event, and I think I don't know. You probably have had notable results before this, Kevin, but I know you played in that. I think it was the Calling after the world premiere in for the Hunted, and then that result put you on the map, and you were able to project that into making more content and doing the Smurph Fab content, and that clout that you got from there, quote unquote clout, allowed you to make this these amazing free resources that I love very much. I hate when my Prism players know about it, but but essentially my whole bit is that it's changed a lot. And instead of making free informative content, people are now rushing to make written paid content on METAFY. And I think that's really bad for the future of content creation and dare I say the future of Fab as a whole. And I think my main reasoning behind it is that when people make paid good written guides, those are amazing and very helpful for the community. I think the best case is that when you take a pro player on or a pro player who's also kind of a specialist on a hero, who puts a lot of time and love and effort, shout out to Taylor, the Marlin Bible, where you put this level of effort. So let's say you're a busy person, you work a 9 to 5 and you don't have much time for Fab. Well, instead of grinding and getting all these results, you can buy this METAFY guide, read it in the time that you have, and quickly catch up. And I feel that's where METAFY guides are perfect. Yep. But I think what's going on right now is a lot of people are rushing to make METAFY guides when it doesn't really particularly make sense, or overcharging it. I think the most common egregious thing that I'm seeing is people advertising stuff as master classes when they're really just primers, and they just go the general overview of the hero. I'm not going to name specific names, but when I was on call with my partner, and they were playing Marvel Snap. It's a funny story. They were playing Marvel Snap. We both get drunk and play video games together sometimes online because we're sort of long distance. And so I was a little bit tipsy, and I was just going through METAFY guides. and like the intros, and I found the METAFY guide, and I like saw a bunch of M dashes on like a paragraph, and I was like, let me check this. And I found that like there was a random pro player that used an AI generated part of their METAFY guide.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not gonna say who it is, but all I'm saying is if you see a lot of
Was
M
it
dashes
Prism?
in a paragraph, run it through an AI checker. No,
Was
it's
it
not
Prism?
Prism.
Was it a
but
Prism guide?
I'm not
There's
gonna-
been multiple of these, one of which I know used an AI image for their thumbnail.
Oh my god. Okay.
That's a
I didn't know
quick
about that.
tell.
I only knew about the AI generated. It's gotten to the point where I think like there's a lot of like I think the two problematic categories are there is quote unquote specialists who don't really have a notable result or haven't put actually the time to like make a guide. And then there's pro players who want to make a quick buck and will put out like a shitty $10 to $15 guide that is just basically a basic overview that they didn't
20 to
take a lot of
$25.
time. Yeah, or they charge $25 for it.
Honestly.
But I think this is a cold take, but I don't know. I just want to talk about it. I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah.
So Kevin, as a Metafied Guide content creator, what do you think about this?
I largely agree. I think the majority of those Metafy guides are not worth the money. It's why I've bought basically none of them. The first thing I look at when I see a guide like that is, or when I see a new guide go up, is how much are they charging? If it's more than $20, that's a red flag immediately. And how long is it? Because Metafy started putting word counts on it, and I believe it's roughly 500 words to a page, single spaced. If your guide is only 10 pages long, I'm going to have some serious issues with it. If all of your matchup sections are average 200 words, I'm going to have some serious issues with it because you don't understand your deck well enough if you can't write a page on average per matchup, especially your difficult matchups.
It's also like in the specifics, like when you start doing matchups, even more so than just playing out the hero, when you get into the nitty gritty, there's
it's
so
deck
much
versus
more
deck.
to talk about. Yeah.
Yes. Like and I think this is part of what I've honestly struggled to do with mine was matchups, because also matchups for me evolved so quickly. Each one evolved so quickly. I just didn't want to put a piece out because it was going to be outdated for me within 2 weeks or within a month. And I just like didn't want to do that. And I finally started doing it as some of them solidified, and also as Prism is about to LL, so they're just not going to update anymore. Like I think the effort is much lower than. It's funny because like we had Patreons, and people had Patreons where they would put like guides and deck techs and stuff like that up. But the pendulum swung so far back the other direction, where it was like there was a handful of people who did Patreon, and they were consistently doing stuff because Patreon only had subscription models. And people didn't want to do subscription models. They didn't want the upkeep unless you did a podcast already or something like. But then Metafy gave the option for one-time payments, and everyone swung back the other direction. And I think in large part, most of those guides aren't worth the money. They're just not. I'm not going to pay 20 or $25 for 10 to 12 pages of stuff that I could get by talking to the person in my group that plays the deck.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just not.
Not everyone has a group.
No, but like, I think you could go to your local player or your PQ local player that plays that deck and talk to them and get at least all of that information, if not much more, without having to pay money. And I didn't start doing content until I'd played Prism for a year. And I didn't even do it because of my Memphis result when I won the Battle Hardened from Hunted release weekend. I didn't do it because of that. I started after I did the stream with Taylor, because Taylor had me on to do a stream, and I saw in Purple Chat like 2 days later somebody saying that it was like the best resource they'd seen for learning Prism in the last 6 months, and I'm like, that's really dope.
Oh, yeah.
And then the next day, that same person was listing off the things they'd learned.
Oh my
And
god,
I was
that's
like,
so sick.
And I was like, I didn't organize any of that. That wasn't planned. That was
Y'all just
Okay,
did some
what-
Talishar games on the internet. Like,
What
that's all it
happens
was.
if I organize my thoughts instead of just have to do it randomly off the cuff? And that's when I started doing all of it, because I was like, okay, no, I do have something to offer here, and I know that I can do something. And then when I started organizing everything, that's when the videos started. And I didn't even do a paid guide until 3 months in, 4 months in, 4 months in, when I'd finally written all of it. And it was 40 pages to start. Like, I think the standards are way too low for what people think is okay to put up, and I think people spend too much money because people aren't willing to put out good content. And I think the other piece that I'm going to add to this from someone who does make content, I'm nowhere near doing this full time. Do not charge an amount that would be commensurate with this being my full-time job. Do not. You're nowhere close. Don't lie to yourself and don't lie to the community. Nobody is big enough to do this full time except for like 5 people, and that's because they're the best 5. It's Fung and Brody and all of, like, it was Hamilton when he had M&R cast. Like, those are the people who can do this full time.
Yeah.
You getting a top 8 at one event is not enough.
I top 8'd my PQ.
That's my favorite example.
That's my favorite one.
Like, I do not charge an amount commensurate with how much that income matters to you, how much it puts food on your table, because you are not. If you're charging $20 for a guide, you're probably not charging an amount commensurate with either the amount of work that you put in or how much you need the money, not want the money. That's my bit. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Do you have any more you wanted to add to specifically what he said before I tear in my own unique direction?
Let me think, because there was a lot said.
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of very things that I can absolutely agree with.
Kevin, known for his being verbose and erudite.
Yeah. I think one thing I would like to like mention is that METAFY was not built for a small community. Back when I played like Smash Bros, like there was like the Axe Pikachu guide. This is like a highly well done video. You expect to have a certain amount of people coming in with traffic. METAFY's system doesn't actually rate something until enough reviews are in, because the community's stall enough. If you make a shitty ass guide and you charge $20 for it and you get like 9 purchases, actually wait, if you get like 20 purchases and only 2 people review it, nobody gets to know. And so like my genuine thing is, I think it's important to say, and what people need to know is that if you purchase a METAFY guide, whether it's the best thing you've ever read in your entire life, or it's the worst thing you ever read, you have to write a review and let people know and do other people disservice, because that's how we slowly start to clean out these lower quality cash grabbing METAFY guides. And if you want to make like not high quality content, I think that's okay. Like, it's okay for you to just turn on the webcam and be like, here's my shitty mic and my 30-minute deck tech of a top 8 of PQ. And I think we should have more of that, because like that's the only reason I like have a YouTube channel, is because I literally just was like, I'm bored. Here, let me just put the camera on. Like, I did okay at some events. Let me do this.
90% of YouTube is just homemade videos.
Yeah. You start with shitty content and then you make good content. And I think the problem is people are making shitty paid content and not actually moving to the good content. They're skipping the steps.
Yes.
All right.
I'll give a quick there's a as of I think yesterday, I have a new litmus test for your guides on METAFY.
Okay.
If Boosting Spend Dog doesn't leave you a good review, I don't think it's a good guide.
He gives everyone a good review. Well, does he not?
There's one that he did not leave a good review, and it was a very average review, which from Boosting Spend Dog means he was not happy.
It's like the IGN review scale.
That man lives in extremes. Yeah, if you got the 5 out of 10 on that one, you're got to be feeling bad. That's so funny. I was worried you were going to say he gave a scathing review. Like, he was just like, that's even funnier even.
Yeah, no, it was a very measured and honest review. And he wasn't doing a bit. And I'm like, I know you're not happy with this.
Oh, no. Okay. All right. Okay. So, all right. I'm going to push back a bit.
Okay.
on the take itself. So the take itself, I'm going to quote it word for word and then and dissect. The move to METAFY and its consequences have been disastrous for the content creation scene. Hyperbole aside, because I love it, is so the thing about content in general that I've learned is the correct answer for growing, getting bigger, and also, okay, so yeah, the correct answer for growing, and the reason why growing is important is because in anything, if you're not growing, you're dying. Is the thing about growing is you need to make good content. That's it. There's no secret formula. You just got to make good videos. You got to make good articles. And so what I'm saying is the cream's going to rise to the top. All this garbage, someone's going to buy it. Someone else is going to say, hey, did you buy this in purple chat? And then they're going to be like, yes, not worth it. They had these 2 bullet points. Maybe this one was worth it. I wouldn't have spent $20 on it. And it's just, the popular guides are going to rise to the top, just like with popular YouTube videos. And I think another part of it is like, it's not that the information in the guides is bad or not helpful. It's just in the wrong spot. And I don't necessarily even mean on YouTube. Like, Connor said, I've top 8'd a PQ within 4 months of playing the game, but I shouldn't be allowed anywhere near educational content for that. And I don't see, the thing about it is, like, being a kind of person who's able to top 8 a PQ, you have knowledge that is good enough to play a certain amount of the game, and that's great for your locals, for the other people around you, the people in the team.
Yep.
It's not that we're all stupid out here. Some more than others, but like the thing is, like, you have this knowledge, it doesn't have to be put into content. I'm gonna take a video at like my niece's birthday party. It's not gonna make it on YouTube. It's just a video, right? So
I think a quick rule of thumb would be, if you're whatever level you are competitive at, that is the level you can make content for.
That's so good, actually. That's well put. I like that.
Because if you're only competitive at your local level event, at your PQs and RTNs, and you're not traveling for battle hardens and callings, and you're not making day 2s of those, well, not battle hardens, but like callings or nats or whatever, and you're not making day 2s of those, you're not making, you don't have the information to make educational content for the people at Nats, for the people at Pro Tours, for the people
Nats and Pro Tour won't get anything out of it. But Kevin, I would have made top 8 if I didn't run into the Victor in round 2 and the Prism in round 3 and the other Victor in round 4.
What deck are you on?
No, I'm being the
okay. I'm just curious.
I'm being the people. I'm being the guy who's making the review, and I'm just like, well, I would have. I have something to say that Michael Hamilton would have gotten a lot from if I only would have won those 3 games.
I think there's a lot that person would need to learn to get to that next level first.
Fair enough.
Would be my response.
That's a healthy response.
All of this being specifically for educational type content, for guides and stuff like that, which is primarily what METAFY has been for. Mm-hmm. If you want to make entertainment based content, because it's kind of generally, I think you probably have said this at some point, it's generally a spectrum between entertainment and educational.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is purely educational content. I'm pretty sure we're talking about entertainment.
Yeah,
whatever.
Because METAFY definitely is
way
should
more
be
educational.
It should be educational. You can write funny stuff in it, but people aren't going to pay for funny stuff.
When you put a guide on METAFY, it's trying to be educational content.
That was your original intent. I've broken my microphone because all I could do is make comedy content, and I cannot make good educational content. So I've broken my microphone. And I also like, we've talked about that, where it's like the more entertainment your product, the less educational it kind of has to be, and vice versa.
Yep.
People aren't going to want to sit through in a proper YouTube video where the purpose is engagement, people aren't going to want to sit through a deck tech because that's not funny. It's not interesting, right? And so they sit through it because of the educational aspect of it.
Yeah.
And
I would
you
like
still
a
say
counterpoint.
it's better in METAFY. Yeah, go ahead.
I think you can make deck techs really funny. You just need like the right context, and you need to have kind of like the right cadence to make it work. So like if you're just like in your Airbnb at Philadelphia, for example, and you're 2 wines deep, and you're just like making jokes while showing off your cool cards, like that's definitely one way to make it entertaining and like content wise. But generally speaking, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Sure, but I think this is also going to be William's question. Are you making that content for entertainment or for education at that point?
Well, actually, my point was going to say loading ready run makes really funny deck techs. And if I was to make deck techs, they would be really funny. And the idea, I think, behind those deck techs and behind what you said where they can be both, is it's like what happens in those videos is you're like, for them it's commander decks, but for me it was like the funny part of the deck was I did double Winter's Whale Oldham. You have Quicken tokens and you have 2 Winter's Whales. And but I just told you the entire deck. You can build it yourself off of that. You don't need to know anything else. You don't need to know any of the other cards. You're just like, I got it, and I know what format I play that in. I know in what like where you kind of play it. Like I gave an elevator pitch, and that was the whole video basically. And then the rest of it is just the funnies and maybe going over specific card choices. And you might come away with like 1 or 2 things. But it's mostly just going to be, that's funny, let me show it to the people at my LGS at best. Or, you know, maybe I bring it and we all have a laugh. Because I don't think, here's actually what I wanted to get at originally, which is I don't think bad METAFY guides are a problem. I think they killed themselves. Let me rephrase that. I think that guides.
you want to let capitalism take care of them.
The one time it's good. Oh my god, that's crazy.
I think that the guides will die to their own inadequacies. Mediocrity. One person's going to buy it, and they're going to sound the alarm. It's not worth it. Even if a couple of people buy it. What'd you get? A couple of quick bucks and pissed a few people off? Or I don't know.
You want to let capitalism take care of it, where they make a crappy guide. Some people buy it, realize it's crappy, tell other people it's crappy, and review it and say it's crappy. And then that person then has to then kind of fix their reputation the next time they make a guide.
If you come out with one mid guide, you need
who has had a really crappy guide and then put out a second one that did well.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know that we've gotten to the time frames where a lot of people have put out multiple guides, but like,
well, I mean, if they put out multiple guides at that point, they're almost doing it for themselves, and then people aren't reading it, right? Like, so.
Well, actually, no, we have had that happen.
Oh, have we?
I am going to name names here.
Oh.
Pudding Tam put out an Aurora guide when he like top 8'd a calling, and then like a month later when he top 8'd another calling, put out the same Aurora guide. The
very same.
That's fucking hilarious.
And there was some backlash on that.
That's so funny.
But yeah.
The same guide is so good. It's so you can only do it once. That's so genius.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I think it was Pudding. There was.
Oh, it'd be extra funny if you told that slanderous statement under the wrong name too. That was funny. All right, this conversation has been awesome. You got me to trip up on my words, which isn't very hard to do, but is always funny.
It was really hard to focus on the important things Kevin was saying when you were playing with your cat in the background, and it was like messing with the I was like dying laughing inside, but I couldn't like physically laugh. Ooh.
Oh, we have a great dynamic, me and Little Bit, not Kevin. So all right, so I think that's mostly it. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up about this?
I don't think there's anything in particular that like isn't like super specific.
Kevin's trying to find the person on.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. I would say just the only last thing is that like
It was pudding.
Oh.
I think that the cream will rise to the top eventually, but I'd rather it go faster, and I'd rather people leave reviews, and then like
Oh yeah,
there's
leave
some like
reviews. Yeah.
crazy, like I will say there is nothing more humiliating than a bunch of people in purple telling you that you don't know what you're talking about, and like I think that's its own punishment in itself. But sometimes if people just take to purple, then like if someone like comes to the guide 3 months later, then they won't be able to like actually be able to tell whether it's good or bad if the review is implemented. All I'm saying is, if you think a guide's bad, please tell all your friends about it. Like,
Yeah.
and share it online.
Or just leave a review.
If
that's the best way to do it.
If you're gonna pay for it, you should leave a review, right?
Agreed.
You know, it's
Whenever
courtesy.
a prominent player posts a new guide, I will usually put a link in whatever Discords I'm in, and then also the word count roughly and the dollar amount.
like the Kevin equivalent of the when you'd have to cite documents on papers. The like Kevin version is just like price, word count.
12 pages, $20, shit value.
Yeah. It's also funny because people inflate the word count. Like they will like repost information multiple times to like inflate it. It's crazy.
I'm not even checking that. I'm just grabbing the METAFY word count.
That's so funny.
I'm looking at one of Pudding's guides, the Aurora ones. The -IE section is 9 words.
It's not even enough for like a YouTube link or something.
That's the title of the video right there.
The -IO section is 17 words.
Oh my gosh. Pudding.
Come on, man.
Hey, you got paid.
Is this the same? Okay. The next one is a bit more.
Okay.
But
well,
still.
Thank you so much for the call. That was genuinely great. Anything you want to shout out?
Shout out my YouTube channel, Ashlyn V3 at Ashlyn V3. I make funny 5 videos.
Perfect.
I might be washed because the new Art of War card made everything weird, but who's to say? And then also, I'm not chilling. I have a METAFY guide, but it's free. It's a completely free Sage METAFY guide. I just was like really wanted to dip my toes into written content because like I love reading magic articles and trying to apply that to like Flesh and Blood. Yeah. And that's like always a very fun experience for me. And so I'm like, I want to make some cool written content and like regularly update it. So if you ever want to play Sage-Fi, I don't have one for CC-Fi because I don't have the time or energy or want to charge for something like that. But if you want to play Sage-Fi, check out that guide. I'll try to keep it updated as much as possible, and it should like let you do well the showdowns. And shout out to the Phymelia. Yeah, that's about it.
Sick. Line. Thank you so much for the call. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Yeah.
I'm on. I got a new phone. I'm losing myself in this Word document.
New phone, who dis?
Anyways, new phone, who me? I meant to ask them if they were in the Fab Content Creator Discord. I don't know if they would necessarily get something out of that, but if they're not, they should ask me if they wanted to join that Content Creator Tech Help Discord specifically. But I think there is also a section on like article writing if there was anything anyone had questions on. But unrelated, we got a few more minutes. I'm gonna like fast read all of these Bluesky takes. If you wanna do like a little speed run of that. I don't know if you got time.
Lightning round? Yeah,
Lightning
sure.
round? All right. I said I'm gonna need your Fab TCG hot takes, all lowercase colon. 1.5x LL multiplayer is bad actually. Basically it means anytime an old hero gets its time in the sun after being irrelevant for years, it zooms into the history books.
Yeah, I don't hate that take. As a Prism player who the hero wouldn't even have been relevant for the first 8 months of the 0.5x before the new weapon, I think that's 100% an issue with it.
So you're saying you're biased.
I mean, I think that's a really good example. I think Azalea is also a really good example. Viscerai is a good example. Who
I agree with you.
Yeah, Viscerai had a very relevant start until Skeletor was banned, and then after Rosetta was released, Viscerai was suddenly very good again and just kind of skyrocketed out within a couple months. I think the 0.5 multiplier is fine. I think probably what should happen is they squeeze both those closer to 1, and it's 0.75 and 1.25. And that's a little bit less feels bad, but still accomplishes what they're looking for to a degree. Because like having these older heroes rotate out is beneficial to the game, as well as letting the LL system handle new heroes the way it's supposed to when these new heroes are busted is also good for the game. If the hero is nerfed appropriately, then they'll be balanced and at 1x, and it'll be appropriate. So I would be okay with seeing it actually be 0.75 and 1.25. We know they're doing the decimal points on LL points behind the scenes. I'm not worried about that. I think 1.5, in hindsight, I think it was I don't have an issue with them starting at that point of 0.51 and 1.5. But I think now that we've seen it
after Viz LL'd is what Wyatt says it didn't happen until after Viz LL'd, he believes.
Sure, but it's
an example.
Yes,
of a hero that did nothing for a long
correct.
time, and then by the time they would have hit 1.5.
Yes, he would have been at 1.5, and he would have been gone even faster. He would have been gone in that PQ season before it, and I think he actually would have been gone about 3 months earlier than he was.
Narrowing in was a good idea. I was almost thinking, like, what if you kept the 0.5, but then you just did away with the 1.5?
I think I'd rather it be 0.75. I think the 0.5 is a little bit too drastic when a deck feels truly too good. Like, let it get the points. Gravy Aurora is the big one. Still, Starvo, naturally. But, like, Aurora is the one that, like, recently stands out.
Jimmy says, in general, I don't feel there are a need for bans, and I say this as a hero specialist. Do you think they didn't need any bans?
For CC?
Yeah, for CC.
I think CC is probably fine. I think the meta is going to coalesce a decent bit now that Verdance is gone. Verdance was kind of introducing a leg of the triangle, quote unquote, even though it was actually like an 8-sided, it was an octagon, but it introduced a leg of the octagon where it kind of like forced decks into less powerful spots. But I think we're going to have a relatively predictable and reasonable meta going into Yokohama. I think it's fine, unless we see something crazy happen at Memphis this weekend in PQs where everything like has already hyper coalesced. I think
I don't even think it'll do that, but
I think we'll see a top 5, not a top 10 type deal.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's totally okay.
Great. Like
I have no issue with that.
Dot. The fact that there is still no replacement for Dromite or Icelander is a massive failure from LSS. We shouldn't have to wait 2 to 3 years for a replacement for a class talent. They should get a year rest and then replacement put out in expansion slot or something.
So
I think 2 years is fine. Also, Flesh of Blood is really slow.
There's 2 issues with this. Saying that there has to be a year rest. We're never going to have time to introduce new talents or classes then.
True, we'd be doing nothing but rotating things.
Yeah, we're going to just be reinstating stuff that it had already rotated.
I think an old Magic player might actually push back on that and be like...
the game doesn't change then.
When do we stop with hero classes and talents?
Yeah. I don't hate 2 years as a wait time, as an average wait time, I should say. I think Prism and Vincent were probably too early, as evidenced by their success rates early on, and then what they had to do later to make them like meta-relevant heroes per se. I think Florian and Aurora are great examples of how you reintroduce talents and classes. They did very well. I think Aurora probably overshot just a little bit, but also was still already a toned down Briar, and then everything had slowed down, so then it felt like it ended up being an overshoot when it maybe wasn't.
Like, it was still fine.
Yes.
In that sense.
And it maybe wasn't an overshoot in whatever format they were testing it in. The problem with putting a hero out purely as an expansion slot is you don't change their card pool then.
and you want to change the card pool because that's what
You-
basically
you wanna-
differentiates the deck.
Yeah, you want to be able to, and I guess you don't need to do this for like every hero, but if you're introducing a hero in an expansion slot, you probably are not updating their card pool. You're not giving them new tools, which means their hero text can't be that different, or it has to be something that's already supported, which means it's not. That's really hard to do.
I feel like yeah.
Speaking purely as an expansion slot thing, because Jarl, I think, is a good example of how you can reintroduce
That's
it.
literally what I was going to
and,
say. I was like, I think Jarl
introduce
is like
new
the
cards.
minimum.
Yes, Jarl is the minimum.
Yeah.
But you have an identity to Jarl, even if he's not that good, and you're still probably just better off playing like Pure Earth or Pure Ice that has nothing to do with Summit or targeted equipment destruction. Yeah. I think purely just saying an expansion slot is not the way to go, but I understand like putting them in a set without having them needing to be draftable. You don't need to put Icelander in a draft set or Ice Wizard in a draft set to bring her back. I struggle to see a world where they put Dromai in a draft set and have it feel like old Dromai.
But at the same time, you couldn't just drop her into the.
You need more than just an expansion slot hero that the Emperor was.
Ooh, the Emperor is a great call out. That's very good actually. And even though he had a really interesting hero ability, like that really made him have a unique deck, and then he was also.
And then he didn't do much because it was super high power blitz.
Yeah.
And now they super killed him because he only gets one CNC.
Well, he did die.
I mean, yes. So.
All right. Well, Morgan says Fab still needs better promos and non-monetary tournament prize support. Here's where I'll start. Is like there's a sliding scale on tournaments of prize support. If you start handing out more promos, unless I guess you can also receive promos as part of your prizing, but I guess I'm thinking about like.
So I'm going to differentiate
almost.
here
Okay,
between participation and prizing.
Yes. Tournament prize support, non-monetary prize support.
Yeah, so this is going to be cards in whatever form. I think gold foils have dropped in value significantly, but that's because this is a player's game and the collectors kind of build out, and we're not getting new collectors.
They're not collecting gold foils for the sake of gold foils.
Well, we're also not getting new collectors, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Like, the collectors have bought what they wanted. Like, Foil Degen stopped buying gold foil packs.
Ooh, is this a hot take that I had? It was, we don't need collectors. We just need players. Some players are naturally also collectors.
I don't know if you've said that. I don't think that's a super hot take, but like the game does benefit from having collectors because it means those chase cards are going to hold more value. It means those gold foils are going to have a higher value, which benefits the players, and in this case, the prizing that they're going to get, the non-monetary prizing that they get. I will not dispute that the participation promos have been severely lacking for the last 2 years, for every level of event, basically. PQ/RTN top 8, top 4 promos have been pretty good the last couple seasons.
Yes.
They're not crazy. Yeah. They're not $100, but they're not $15. They're $50. That's pretty good. That's at least your entry back. I'm pretty okay with that.
Yeah. Good.
Tournament packs have already been much cheaper than I would have expected. I believe mostly because the demand for them is relatively low because the color-specific nature of some of these cards.
Yellow Staunch Response.
Yeah, Yellow Staunch, Blue Wild Ride.
Blue Wild Ride, no! That's... oh,
Dory's
man.
not even playing Warrior's Valor anymore. Like, the demand for some of these is relatively low, but like Red Mauve Skies is pretty good. Blue Mauve Skies is pretty good. Blue Emeritus Scolding is sick, actually.
It feels like...
But even those are like $30 at their best, which is already like the best you would ever get for a Rainbow Foil hero. Literally the best you would get.
Does it feel gambly in nature? the tournament packs?
No, because they're all bad.
Oh.
Sorry. It should, because in my head, Blue Emeritus Scolding should be like $75, and then Blue Wild Rides would be like $5.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's Blue Emeritus Scoldings are $25. They're going to end up $20 to $25. And then the Blue Wild Rides, you're just not going to sell. So yeah, it's going to feel bad, but it's like, okay, it was $25 instead. Like, meh. Like, I sold a red infecting shot the day I got it in Richmond for like $15. It's red infecting shot.
Yeah.
And it's $15. What am I gambling? No, the gambling is entering the event.
That is true.
Like, I don't think tournament packs were bad, but I don't think they're a hit. They don't like solve the problem. It's just, they're fine.
They're fine.
Yeah. They're not really an upgrade from the Rainbow Foil Heroes, because like people are going to play Rainbow Zipper Hit forever, except for the Blues. Maybe it's sided out for Trebuchet right now, but like there's going to be relevant cards in those packs for a long time to come. Because like Mauve Skies are going to get played as long as Runeblade's getting played. Infecting Shot's going to get played as long as there's a Ranger, which will probably need to,
even
have
Blue
one
Staunch.
Yeah, Red and Blue Staunch are going to be fine. Red Wild Ride maybe more so than the other two now that KO's gone. But as long as we have Sage and we have KO, we're going to have Red and Yellow Wild Ride demand. Blue Emeritus is going to be in demand forever as long as we have a Wizard that can play Striders. LOL. Like, they want there to be whiffs? Sure. They sure got some.
It's a card game, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to read this whole take. The game would be better off with a sweeping ban list aimed at reducing the amount of insane overlap decks can fall into, Connor. Basically saying ban Block 4D reacts, or also anything. Let's start with that. That's the take in there.
So
ban
they just want a power down of the entire game.
They want to power down of the entire game, and they want to ban commonly played generics, like not specific generics, but like I feel like it's funny because if you were to ask him, do you want to ban Sink Below, he'd say yes. Do you want to ban Tunic, he would say no.
A little,
but for
maybe
the same reason. But like for the same reason.
I mean, it's they want less generic and more deck identity as part of this, which is fine. I don't hate that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way you do that though is by having better class stuff. Like, I mean, we see this with like Dyadic Carapace is a great way to just like have a Runeblade chess piece that is better than Tunic in some ways. Because it's just like, but it's still not always better than Tunic. Vinsets are going to run both, and they're going to run the appropriate one for the matchup because they do different things, and that's fine. I'm okay with having options, but you need it. I think classes are better off when they have cards that are of a commensurate value to them.
Yeah.
Not inherently better, not inherently worse. I think Purgatory was overshooting a bit.
Yeah.
A touch, not a crazy amount. Purgatory's fine. It doesn't need to be banned or anything. But it was a very good card, and you wouldn't see Florians or Vinsets run any other headpiece, basically, except for Spell Void 2 and Vinset. Like,
yeah.
That was it. I think they just want to play Sage.
That sounds like they want to play 40 health Sage.
40 health Sage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This next one.
Play that.
Yeah, go play
that. You can do that.
Do it. I'm going to play Huntsman. Cass. The new Asilios Existent is the worst hero rollout they've done. It's not out yet, but I see where you're going with this. It's an extremely similar ability. Switching the talent to Lightning when base Asilio already doesn't play elemental cards. Having two of the same hero before we get replacements for any of the long absent heroes feels so bad.
I'm gonna break this into pieces.
Chat. Frick.
Do we want to?
Yeah, I want to adjust that. I guess. Yeah, right. So to clarify, generic not a problem. Okay. The point is about how these defensive tools create insane defensive overlap. That's very close to Kevin's favorite expression. Offensive overlap.
You mother.
Defensive overlap. Fatigue.
I think there's nothing close to a defensive overlap that Codex is better than, or like not just better than.
We don't have a defensive card that does.
No.
What if it's also Codex and you just ponder into Sink Below?
Sure, that's just your deck isn't. You're just better then.
You're just better.
I don't think having 4-block D-Reacts is a problem.
Rest of the
Sure, yeah. If you reduce the offensive overlap, you have to reduce the defensive overlap. That's fine.
I see.
Yeah, that's sure, but that's Sage.
That is kind of Sage. You cut all the Majestics out, and most of the Majestics have to deal with offensive overlap. So you also have to ban Sink Below.
Yes, that's Sage.
I don't think
Sage is not an interesting format to me.
I worry we sound very dismissive, but we're also
speed
running this
when you say these things, this is what I'm picturing,
and we're also saying it really fast.
Yes. This is where my mind goes when you say reduce offensive overlap. Okay, that's primarily Majestics and equipment, and then reducing defensive overlap is D-Reacts, 4 blocks, and equipment. And that does just feel like Sage.
Sage.
To me.
I think there could be...
If I'm missing something, please tell me.
Yes, please tell us. But I feel like there's also... It might sound dismissive when we say that, but there's nothing wrong with enjoying the game you like to enjoy. Granted, that's not how the competitive circuit works necessarily.
If you want to play Sage, play Sage.
If you want to play Big Sage, play Big Sage. That's also fine. I'll try and make it on the Discord next week so you can elaborate. I love that. I am super for that. I think we could not drag that out. We can elaborate on that more, and that could be very interesting. The Acilio thing is, why do we get new Acilio before something else? And my answer to that really quickly is... They're building a lightning. They had already probably planned a lightning set, and they were like, "We need another lightning
wizard.
Lightning wizard. It's going to be arcane focused. We can make a new. They could have made a lightning wizard whose name wasn't and art wasn't Acilio.
Yes,
but functionally did the same thing. I think a lot of people, and I don't mean to call anybody out for this, but I think a lot of people get hung up on the lore of the characters, the name of the characters a lot when it comes to things coming out.
All the OG Prism players trying to play new Prism and it not feeling like OG Prism
it's just
getting upset
cards.
About it. Yeah. Okay. So here's my thing. I don't think the ability is that similar. I think the ability is actually very different.
Ooh.
Because all of your play patterns are different. The instants that you're going to play are going to be different. They're instants that you have to be able to play when you discard them, that you want to play when you discard them. Frequently in current Acilio, you're not discarding instants you want to play. You're discarding the ones you don't want to play. Difference number one. You're pondering, you are not drawing a card.
Very different.
Wildly different when you
different.
Cycle on their turn. Huge, insane difference. And on your turn. Acilio already doesn't play elemental cards. Sure. Yeah, there's functionally no difference in their card pool in what they're going to present because of that. I don't love that, but if you were going to print any Lightning Wizard, that would also be the case. Two of the same hero before we get replacements for any long absent heroes feels so bad. I think that's just what you're saying, where it's like you're kind of hung up on it being Acilio, but also, I don't love that.
True.
I think a lot of people have kind of been saying,
I want to play Ice
why
Wizard.
is this set here?
Ooh. No, I haven't heard that. I have been hearing a lot of people's opinion on what they feel like the draft is going to feel like, what they feel like the heroes are going to feel like, but they haven't been talking about the set maybe as a holistic.
Like why did they print this all lightning set now? What is the point of this set? What are we doing?
I think there's a lore answer to that, but I feel like that's not what you're looking for.
I think there's a lore answer that's driving gameplay, and that never feels good.
Feels good to some people. Actually, no, it doesn't.
League of Legends banning a character from competitive play for lore.
Did I know about that? Is that
I don't know.
Me? That sounds like after me.
That's I don't know. This was like in 2014 or something.
Oh. What was it? Am I forgetting it? What is this?
They banned Gangplank for like 2 months for lore reasons because he died.
Yes, I do remember that now.
And he was not legal to play in competitive or in the game because of lore.
If you're a Gangplank fan, you're probably really hyped and upset. You're like, yeah, oh.
I think
So
you're
like,
mostly
clearly
just
they're
upset.
doing something with this, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I just want to. I've worked my 9 to 5. I deserve my free MOBA game, and to play as a pirate.
Yeah. That was a terrible
people
decision
do that.
they made.
That's
Everyone
not
hated
nice.
that.
Everyone hated
This
that.
feels similar to that,
remember
where it's
that.
like, all right, Aurora's fine. Austin fuming, for sure. Ziggy, dope. Acilio, yeah. I mean, if you're bringing back Aurora and the lore is that Aurora is traveling with Acilio, I guess.
This deck could be cool. Is another
It
thing.
is-
This could
it
be
is
something
different.
they had on the back burner, and they were like, we want to put this in somewhere.
Yes. I think that's what it is.
I-
They just like, well,
But I think that's
guess,
fine.
Sorry, I don't think that's for this deck. I think that's for the set. That they've had this set and they're like, all right, we want to do this set and we want to do something with it, but we don't know where to put it. And then they're like, oh, we need to bring back Aurora. Shove.
We did all expect we were getting an armory deck, and then I forgot that we all expected we were getting an armory deck.
That's kind of what this feels like from the outside.
They were like, well, let's just make a big splashy entrance for Aurora, as she gets a whole set again.
Yeah. That's what this feels like.
Oh well. Well, that bombshell. I feel like that's mostly it.
There was one more from Tommy in chat.
Oh yes, that's where it was. I was like, there was one more. Tommy said, mediocre players who think they're good think good metas are toxic. 100%. Next.
Yeah.
No notes.
Same.
Bold to say out loud. I love it. And it's a hot
Fun
take
fact,
because some
care
people
that much
don't
about
know.
their lore. I mean, yeah, you're 100% correct. That's why I think this is they need to bring Aurora back, and this is the set they wanted to do Aurora 2 in. So they just put out the set, and it happened to also have Acilio.
I think they care about their lore about 1 point less than the people who do care about the lore. I'm going to rephrase all of it. I'm going to say
Then the people who don't care about their lore.
because the main thing is like they care about the lore in the sense that they know people want it.
They
That's
know
it.
that a subset of the
They know a
community wants it.
subset of people want the lore, and so they care about the subset of people.
Yes, they care about that subset of people, not about the lore.
Yep. Gorganian Tome doesn't make videos anymore.
Nope.
Oh. All right. I think that's all we got for time for the show. Kevin, shout outs?
Watch Calling Memphis this weekend.
You're going to be in it. You're going to be on TV.
I'm going to be playing it.
We're going to be watching
Maybe.
Kevin live. No, they never put Kevin on TV unless he is like in the finals because they do not want.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't.
I haven't been on stream
He has. They
outside
do
of.
not want him on stream. I
They
know
have-
this.
They pulled me for a stream match in Nats round 4. It did not make it to stream.
No, it didn't because they were like, wait, who decided Kevin's getting on stream? Hold on a second.
No, because I bodied this person so bad it wasn't good TV.
I love that. I think that's great TV. Bring back the Coliseum, but for Flesh and Blood. All right. Remember to go check out our merch at the tablepit-shop.fourthwall.com where you get shirts that say, "Take up tunic. Do not wear this at Memphis."
No.
But wear it to your armory.
Disclaimer, some of these shirts are not actually okay to wear at large events. Just a heads
They're
up.
great. They're such great shirts.
They're great shirts. Judges can tell you not to wear them because they are considered communication and outside assistance.
Our boy Wyatt says Acilio's lore was deeply related to Mon 3. I didn't know that because
I could see that.
Read the lore,
but I don't know.
Anyways, if you want to help make this stream look nicer and help us get supplies for our project videos, you support us at patreon.com/thetablepit, where you can help fund things like I made a bot for Bluesky to repost James and Brian Gottlieb's tweets onto Bluesky. It's too much to keep up with and kind of sucks. But they did, so I've been doing it manually, but I did put that it still is a bot because they now have an icon for bots. I don't know if it counts as a bot if I'm doing it. Am I a bot? Thank you all so much for watching. We do this every Thursday. We also have No Blocks at Chill Touch our stream where we do or don't stream. Saturday mornings at 9. If Wyatt is not in Memphis, I don't know if he is, or is, I don't remember if Wyatt's going to Memphis or not. But if he's not, then we got that Saturday. This is a perfect time.
Pretty sure he's in Memphis.
Pretty sure he's in Memphis. Okay. Maja base casting.
He is.
Do I know who Casanova is?
Cass has casted a bunch of games, including Overwatch, and made top 8 of Calling Osaka on the Aurora deck that
wow, actually
Mercy was playing
this weekend. Dang it. Okay, nope. No box this weekend, but our semi-annual show will resume as soon as possible. That's kind of sick, actually. It also explains why he's got a really nice mugshot, and Majin Bays is a blown-out picture of him from live stream. Someone get that man a professional photographer. But that's what I'm going to be watching this weekend. Y'all watch that as well. Thank y'all so much for watching. Bye.